Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today is a special, and the subject of the special is John Carpenter's The Thing. This came off the back of a podcast that myself and Sam Muscroft did, conversation about The Thing as a movie, how the fact that Paul's probably never seen it and he should watch it. And that sort of sparked a conversation about that, and everybody agreed that was probably a great thing to do. So we decided that we were going to get together and watch The Thing, which we did. And somewhere along the line, as is often the case, thought it might be a good idea to podcast. Got a few of us together. Myself, Sam Muscroft, JK, Edward Dench, Paul Williams, and new and fastly becoming a podcast regular, James Panas. All got together. We watched The Thing. Paul's never seen it. James Panas hasn't seen it for a long time. The rest of us have sort of seen it and know it. So it was an opportunity to strip that film down and see what we thought to it, about it. The fact that there's a sequel, which is a prequel, the fact that it's a remake, things like that. So have a listen. Again, we're starting to get there with the video stuff. This one does have a video. Hopefully I can get this video coded up with the audio and get that moved over to the YouTube channel. So for those of you listening / watching on YouTube, theoretically there should be a video for you to watch. Give this a listen, a watch, see what you think to it. And this is a Cookiecast podcast special of The Thing. Right, it's podcast time. Let's do this. I'll give you one of them.
All I can think there is
and
terrible defended by Nathan Aki. Great finish, yeah, I'll give you that, but terrible defended.
So,
first and only time you'll probably hear like actual football discussion go on. Oh,
no, it's getting edited out.
How? That is our new personal best. We got off topic before you pressed go.
I know. I'm sorry.
That beats my chicken. Now he's got music on as well.
Control your players.
That beats my chicken speak.
Yeah, it was you. I referred to earlier when Sam always delved into control my players, and I'm like, look what I'm working with.
How?
Did you say you filled my drink? That's fine.
Yeah, it's on the table. So
Andy, you asked if we were ready for this.
Still
now who's walking?
Are you ready for this?
Right. So we're in yet another secret location. Secret location.
I think one day we're going to actually have to put out some clues for where these places are and see how
What, like
people
colours?
actually try to find
Let's see if people turn
No,
up
I'm
waiting
sure
for
there's plenty of
autographs.
Easter eggs around here that we'll all be able to work out where exactly we are.
Wouldn't be
I
the...
don't know. I think for the geekery of this one.
I bet you can't tell based on the posters that are on the walls.
Yeah, that's forget. We're not going to give away whose house this is, but it is one of ours.
Whose
you have to
house
guess which
is
one.
this? Didn't that used to be that weird...
Who
Who's house? Where else?
Who would be the only person not on camera right
In
now?
the kitchen.
So
The voice from the shadows.
we all got together and we all watched John Carpenter's The Thing.
Do you have to legally call it that for sort of?
This annoys me already.
Why?
Sure.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
As opposed to all the other things you're...
Yeah. Why does he have to have his name in front of everything?
Well,
Because
let's
it's
have that as the
technically a remake.
first. Let's have that as the first point.
Oh,
Discussion.
well, no, yeah,
John
okay.
Carpenter's.
Huh?
Why is it John Carpenter's?
Because it's technically a remake.
Yeah, it's a remake of the 1951
51.
film.
Was Vampires remake as well then? Because that's John Carpenter's Vampires. I thought it was because
You just
John
fall
Carpenter's...
foul of your own rule.
No, I
there.
thought it was
But
because his
isn't
name
it-
was trademarked or something.
Yeah, so isn't it a thing that after a certain point he started putting John Carpenter on the beginning of everything?
Yeah,
so
that's
that
what I
he
thought.
actually-
Well, no, it's not John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China, and that was 1986.
Oh, that's true.
Then I have no fucking idea.
When was Escape from New York?
John Carpenter's...
It's not called that, is it?
No,
It's
because
just...
Escape from LA is called
That's
John
like
Carpenter's
mid-80s,
Escape from
isn't
LA.
it?
But it's weird because
John
Vampires
Carpenter's
is
Escape
called
from LA.
John Carpenter's
It's
Vampires.
such a- it's
Did
just
he
a-
do
Right.
LA?
Well,
Or
while
did
you
he
do
just
the
do
chat
New
thing,
York?
I'll find out. I'll Google it.
Google it.
Inquiring
I'm
minds want
actually
to
just
know.
googling why is it John Carpenter's.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
So everybody's Googling it right now.
Control your players, Andy.
I can't, it's impossible. Does anybody want to guess whether Paul fell asleep during the thing?
Well, I'm not going to guess. I know.
We all saw
We
it,
all
didn't
know.
we?
We heard the snoring.
We all saw, heard
And live
experience, and then basically put your balls on my face, I'm assuming, or some...
No. There was
so many worse places.
Check out the Instagram feed for that one.
Some form
so
of sexual
many worse
exploitation,
places.
so that's fine.
So...
Made it for the whole film. Last 10 minutes, he could have found out how it ended and then...
It's a long film. It's a whole hour and 40 minutes long. It's a real tough one, that.
Yeah, it's tough going.
Tough sledding.
He managed to go past your 15-minute time.
That is true. You did say Paul will be asleep within 15 minutes, and I think I lasted a good
another 20 minutes.
20 after that, or something like that.
Okay, no.
I'm actually surprised I didn't notice this, and we didn't do something.
I'm surprised I didn't hear it, because I think that's what tipped me and Panas off, and we were like...
I'm afraid so. I was enjoying watching the film and then waiting for key moments where I could watch his face.
The heavy breathing kick in.
Yeah.
Well, he is worth $35 million.
It was not that you said like...
So,
Was that just going, nodding?
I'm still looking.
Oh, I thought this was the start of the list of
No,
facts.
that's there. So there's one fact. He's worth $35 million. Yeah.
What might be a pound behind that?
He's only worth $35 million.
And he was born in 1948.
Remember, if you think of like the budgets of the films he's directed, what big films has he done really?
Well, that's the first time
Well,
I've
we
ever
named
heard.
them all.
That's not a big film though. The Thing was was like kind of a tiny budget, really, comparatively.
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China was like his first proper full-on Hollywood film.
John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, definitely. But that was like, from what I gather, he didn't particularly enjoy working in that sort of environment.
No.
Which is why I went back to doing something a little bit less Hollywood.
Here's a question. Who is Freddy Krueger in real life? No one. Freddy Krueger is made up.
What's like?
That's just a question.
I just watched the autobiography. What was the man originally?
Who is John Carpenter? No one.
Although Wes Craven did say that he was inspired by a very real story about seemingly young, healthy people who were mysteriously dying in their sleep.
Yeah, there is a condition.
Sorry, I know it's off topic. I'm just finding all sorts of random facts now.
I'm being serious. Seemingly healthy people dying in their sleep, that's cop death.
No, that's seemingly healthy
The babies. The
Yes,
specifically babies.
but they were, because they're
But
usually
normal-
healthy.
Yes, but normal people don't sleep in a cot.
Alright, fine, if you want to...
I don't even know how we got like so off
Anyway.
topic so quickly.
Sam, control your
Because
players.
I'm going to keep
was on
looking.
topic.
In fact, I won't
Because someone
speak
was saying
until I
about
find
Freddy
out.
Krueger.
Yeah, but that was off topic.
Kind of wasn't.
How was it not off topic?
It was in with the Wes
Degrees
Craven
of off
thing.
topic.
It was in with the John Carpenter thing. That's
Because
how
Wes Craven,
popped
who
up.
isn't John Carpenter.
No, but he cropped up because it was like there was a question related.
Where's Craven? Dead?
No.
I'm almost certain that he's dead.
I've got no idea.
Shall I
No.
Google it?
We've got a
No,
computer here. shall we
Is
see?
Wes Craven dead?
Wes
I'm pretty
Craven
sure he's
dead.
not.
it's like you're not really throwing it on the computer there, but you're just making it sound like you definitely are.
Cause of death, brain tumour, he's dead.
He's super dead, apparently.
Paul knows more about films than we all do. Who knew?
No, he knows more about that man's death than we
I
do.
thought we were going to literally stand up and just pull his shorts down.
Oh no, it was either going to be that or it was going to be a case of drop him and then walk out.
That was the other
Right,
option I thought you were going to go. You were just going to walk out.
Walk out. Or throw myself off the balcony.
But yeah, that wasn't fake typing, that was just a really loud
It did feel like your impression of you not doing any work, which is generally...
don't really bring in the toffee hammer keyboard into work, you'll never get anything.
Toffee hammer
Which is why I like that. My job is in fact to use both hands to type there, as opposed to just the one finger tapping.
Did you close the browser?
That was beautiful.
I did.
Damn it!
Did you
Did
play the history?
Did you see when he died?
2015.
I was going to say because it's not something recent. He's been dead for quite a while.
Now you asked that question. Who is he?
He's not done a great lot recently though, has he? So do you remember John Carpenter's The Thing, the film we watched?
No, never seen it.
No.
Never seen it.
Sorry, why are we talking about that?
Paul only saw 64% of the film.
That is absolute horse shit.
Between the sleeping, the phone, the rubbing your eyes, and the eating, you saw probably not even 64%. In fact, I'm way over it.
I saw all of the film apart from probably the last 8 minutes.
It's a good job because the last part is in fact the ending's not important.
I was going to say it's not like it all happens at the end.
It's a really happy ending. The thing, all really tied up.
At the end of the thing, Paul, who do you think was the thing?
Well, I know who the thing was.
Go on.
It was the weird scientist, doctor-y type person guy main thing.
Who was dead by that point.
No, he wasn't dead.
He was.
No.
He was super dead by the end.
Super dead.
By the end,
Dead in what
Blown
way?
up by massive amounts of dynamite.
Exactly.
Right.
But,
But that's not how they killed the
but the
thing.
dynamite blew him so far away that a part of his body survived and carried on thinging things.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That could be
It's very
true.
possible.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very ambiguously ended film, so.
At the end of it,
I need to raise something about the thing. There are two things that are incredibly unsettling about that film. One
You can't
is
say
the
two
dog.
things.
Yeah, no, that was
One is the
amazing.
dog. I could talk about for about 8 hours on how disturbing that dog is in that film. The other thing is that there's the two doctors. There's the first doctor that gets locked in the tool shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second doctor, the nose ring.
Yeah! I thought I was just missing
He
that
must
stuff.
be 60 years old.
I let it slide at one point, but I was so tempted halfway through to go, does that guy have a...
I didn't even know he had it until I saw the Blu-ray release
Yeah.
years
But why
later.
is it so close
Because
to
you
the
couldn't
face?
see us on the
That's
standard F.
the thing about it is, it's not a nose ring that's
Like in the
fitted
middle
to
of
his
the.
nose.
Yes.
It's a nose ring. It's like this thing that's like when you watch it on the Blu-ray,
And
like,
it's copper. It's like copper coloured, which is.
But I said I didn't notice until I saw it, super high definition later on.
massive nose ring.
Super high definition, mate!
70s.
Yeah.
Hey, mate!
Because I saw the thing originally on like VHS or something. So.
Betamax. Real to real.
No, yeah. There's a wax cylinder.
Projection!
That is the second time I've seen that film.
Yeah,
Did you jump that many times the first
The
time?
other time, yeah.
Did you jump as much in the first one?
Oh, loads. I
That's
thought it
okay.
was super scary in the first one.
Okay.
But I'd have, like
But you
you
were six?
said, yeah, 6-ish. or
I'm
something.
just
I'm not
amazed
sure
how
that's the film
shocked
you
you
should
were.
have been watching
No.
when you were 6.
And it's put me off watching it again all this time because I thought it was super scary, but that was not scary.
It is more of a. I would say it's not a horror film. It's more of a tense thriller in a
So
lot of ways.
the story, the
With horror
supposed
elements.
story is, the bit where the guys have the heart attack and they go to resuscitate him and he puts his hands through his chest.
You mean the bit where me and Paul shat ourselves?
Yeah, and I was amazed how shocked you looked for someone who's seen this before.
Apparently,
What,
the
like
story
30
behind
years
that
ago?
scene is that nobody in the room knew it was going to happen.
Oh,
Because
right,
John
so that's all
Carpenter
genuine
wanted to
shock.
capture actual reactions. to
Who's
it.
John Carpenter?
Let's not play this fucking game.
No, but I'm happy to throw it anyway.
I'm still looking.
You're still looking.
Yeah,
It's actually really hard to find.
I remember that stat.
This is why.
Shall I look it up on my internet?
This is why the internet isn't for old people.
Whoa! Okay then, Brainiac. Find it. Go on. No, go on. I'm like, you find it.
That's my grandma.
That right there, that was stiff.
Find it.
That was
right
a
there.
stiff shot.
Find it.
Jesus.
Go on.
I don't care that much.
So, where do you want to start?
Probably at the beginning.
Should we talk about the dog?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the dog. You've
Right,
got a lot to say about this dog.
When you say the dog,
The one that was running away in the snow.
I don't get what you mean about why it's freaky.
That dog is creepy as fuck.
Why?
Because of the slow movements, it's unbelievably
super
well trained
creepy.
to do a
Yeah, I mean, and
deliberately.
that's the thing.
It's like it's stalking.
It's
the whole of its movement.
fantastically trained as that dog. But that dog is creepy as hell.
It's got those eyes as well. That particular breed of dog does, where it just looks like it's
husky eyes.
constantly looking out into
I
the
just don't
distance.
get why they were happy just to take in a dog that.
They weren't. It was one of their dogs.
No, it
No,
wasn't
it
because it
wasn't.
came from the Norwegian. The Swedish people.
No. Sorry, yeah, the Swedes.
Norwegian.
No, it came from there. That dude at the start,
Yeah.
as I understood it, knew that it was the thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And they were chasing it.
Oh, is it all coming together now?
It's clicking with me now. That
Yeah, and
makes
they were
sense.
chasing it, trying to kill it because they knew what it was.
Yeah.
And when it gets to the end, their thinking is, crazy bastard shooting a dog, we'd better save the dog. Not, I wonder why he's shooting at that dog. Like any other person in the world would probably think,
I don't think
That would make a good film, though, right?
what, why are they shooting at this dog?
Yeah.
There's not the catchiest title you could come up with, but yeah, well, why not? I'm pretty sure that's the 2011 remake, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's not a
that's why
remake.
I said
It's a sequel.
So,
Prequel sequel.
Pretty cool.
So, the principle being is, as they find out later, that all the people from that base, when there was supposed to be 10 of them, and there was like 2 of them on the helicopter and stuff, they'd either killed themselves, been turned into the thing, or basically just destroyed the base that they were living in. And then presumably the thing turned into a dog and did a runner, and the two guys were like, well, let's burn everything and destroy everything and then get after the dog to stop this from being a thing. They presumably wouldn't have realised that there was other people there. And they went after the dog.
And the other guys looked after the dog because they saw a dog being in trouble, so they thought we should.
I don't think there was
dog.
a great deal of controversy. I thought, oh, it's a dog, sure, you can go with our dogs.
And as we were talking about before, the guy who looks after the dogs was seriously into the dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
he's
fact
like,
that you were like,
The
I
whole
don't
way
know whether
through.
you were trying to kind of give me the impression I should be watching this guy.
I think that is our
Well, the
point
film
of his
obviously,
character.
the film
though.
Yeah.
obviously wants to make you.
The whole design.
Yeah, because the film turns MacReady into a murderer before him. You know, it did fall a little bit into the zombie film genre of the worst thing in a zombie movie is the humans.
Yeah.
That did that little bit of the worst thing in a horror movie where you're trying to work out who the monster is the humans.
In the thing, though, the worst thing is the Gribbly monster.
Yeah.
It is the Gribbly killer monster that's the worst.
The worst
That's how
thing
they
is
managed
that,
to
but
gloss over it. They go.
The
so
problem
we killed a
isn't
couple of
the
people.
monster itself,
So-
it's fear itself, it's paranoia.
Yeah,
That's their point, is that your terror comes from not knowing. When you do know, alright, yeah, fuck, it's bad. But it's all to do with them being innately terrified of each other suddenly, and even themselves at one point. Because when he's doing the blood testing scene, obviously the bloke's look of relief when his blood doesn't do anything, as if he didn't know if he was or wasn't.
And that's the thing.
the
That
other
was
piece
my
of it,
question,
is
I didn't
fear of
know
yourself.
whether-
The guy that has the heart attack, it's completely unexplained about the fact that he's had a heart attack, he's been taken away, essentially dead, taken away into that room, and then it's only when they try and resuscitate him do they work out that he was a thing. But it's
Does he even know?
almost like he doesn't know that.
Well,
And
that was
that's
my
part of the
question.
point.
Is that
Part of the
I
point
think
is
so.
that
It's never explained.
don't really know.
There's a lot of ambiguity in the
because the Keith
David?
yeah, I think there's one bit where he genuinely thinks he is a thing, isn't that? Until like
Yeah, because he's
They do
relieved
the
when,
blood, yeah.
when his blood
Yeah.
is not his. Like when
Would you like to
when
Keith David do
you have to put your hands
Oh,
on that. Listen to Paul.
Paul, would you like to
Right,
use your 60
so,
bob cent
Why
of
does
the
he put
movie?
his hand up?
Because he's a bellend.
Right, okay.
Oh, me.
He spent a lot of time in school, a little bit longer than
Yeah,
most.
clearly far too long.
Right, so
That's the police reports for the test.
Joe, we should edit that from the podcast.
We won't.
Absolutely not. So, when the thing things people,
Yeah.
it doesn't kill the person, it just takes over the person's
It
body.
systematically takes over the cells.
Or
like
does
a
it kill the
parasite.
person and replace that person with itself as
Yeah.
the thing of that
It
person?
takes over that
It
role.
shows you what
doesn't it?
happens when they do the computer simulation thing.
Yeah.
Of the,
Oh, don't get me started.
so
on that.
there's the three things. There's the
Fast
thing
coding.
DNA, and then there's two normal cells. And when it comes in contact with a normal cell, it goes into it and then assimilates it and then turns itself into a normal cell. But then when the other normal cells go past, it's like, oh, I'll have you as well, and it grabs that one. And it always goes back to being red before it goes back to being white. So it's that thing that it assimilates, takes over, and makes it itself. Like when the guy's got the hands, like the big shovelly hands,
Yeah.
was because he was nearly complete. But it started out as a thing, and then it was assimilating him, and it nearly managed to finish, and he would have just been normal. But it does run into that thing that potentially they don't know whether they are or they're not.
Tricky.
But on the flip side, that the Doctor had been building that fucking spaceship presumably the entire time he'd
In the
been
dark.
there.
In the dark!
And a noose.
So because that was going to be one of my questions. Like, how long was he a thing? Like,
I think
Possibly
he's
that
day
like-
one.
I think he's a thing from very early on, and it's the
So
whole
the
way through.
question
You do see
is-
it going. When did it happen? I'm still convinced it's the moment he touches it with the rubber and then puts the rubber to his mouth like a dickhead.
The
You
thing
see, he
about
goes,
it is
"This is a
he
thing."
a thing when he's smashing everything up with the axe, or is he still human at that point?
I think he's human at that point, and it's while he's in the room the transition happens and it turns him. So he's obviously made the news with the intention of hanging himself, and then suddenly, I want to come back inside.
Yeah,
That's when the personality change sort of takes place.
And that sort of suggests the transition there. And it's like the bloke with the heart attack thing. You
But
see, there's a moment where he has a momentary something's wrong with me, and I think it's to set up the idea that he might be having a heart attack, but actually is that part of the changeover, the
He
last
refuses to
shred
take
of
the
your life?
gun, remember, earlier on in the film. He refused to take charge and take the gun, so was he human at that point?
Yeah, presumably.
So that's before they've put him in the shed though, isn't it?
No, the
heart attack guy.
Oh, yeah. I
Because
can't
what he won't realise is the thing's trying to get away from them at that point in time, and the thing goes, if I fake my own death, they're probably not going to be running around looking for me, and I can just be off in a room as a dead body and all that. But then, while it's being shocked with electricity and stuff, which, you know, electricity is like jump to fire and stuff, it was being hurt, so it had to fight back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have just gone, I'm just going to stay here for a minute. Okay, they're all gone. Right, I'm going to go over here.
Well, maybe.
In the computer game, it doesn't do that. It definitely tried to kill me.
No, that was
They
the
weren't
prequel.
trying to escape. They were trying.
It was
to
a sequel to the video game. Very good game.
They were
as well.
trying to kill me. There was no intention of escaping there.
One of the weird things I found about the game was that there was part of the complex that was still intact.
Yeah, and it clearly isn't.
And at the end of there, it's like there's nothing left.
And it was a lot bigger as well.
Yeah, it was.
The complex was a lot
I played that
bigger.
game for weeks.
So, what else do we have on the dog?
The dog's creepy.
Is that all you had?
It's great. It's another example of great casting. So one of the things I was...
If it was that or Lassie, and they just thought, you know what, look, you're no fucking good.
Was it you I was saying to that if you go back and look at that film, every single one of the people in it has got a flaw. Like they've all got...
Even Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell's an alcoholic.
Okay. It's not really a flaw, though, is it?
It's not really.
That might be your viewpoint, James.
It's not a strong selling
Saying.
point. Let's be fair.
It could be a downer, but not necessarily a flaw.
He says,
Anyway.
scan the room and
So,
James is the only one with a
next.
beer.
So, Kurt Russell's an alcoholic. The guy that's smoking all the weed all the time is a drug addict, a drug user. Keith David's got anger issues.
Yeah.
I don't see why that's an issue either. Once again, I'm not sure that's a flaw.
The captain's got some kind of inadequacy complex.
I just thought it was like some kind of like post-traumatic thing, like
Yeah.
he was...
He was in the NAM.
Because he's the only one. Because they make reference to the fact that he's always carrying a gun.
And he's been waiting to use
And
it.
he's been waiting to use it.
Yeah.
And it's all the fact that
Please,
all of
Captain
the...
Five got
Like
to
the guy with
use
the
shooter.
dogs, he obviously felt more of a kinship with dogs than he did
And he's a
with the
clone
rest
of Ewan
them.
McGregor.
I don't...
No,
Yeah,
it was the other bloke.
There's the guy with the glasses that basically didn't trust anybody from the start. It wasn't like, oh, we might be aliens.
He
He was like,
was the later guy.
he
Just
looks like
didn't want to be
Michael from-
there.
He's
Boys.
the radio guy.
He
Yeah.
looks like Michael from the Lost
Windows.
Boys,
Windows, yeah.
with the shades on.
yeah, that guy does like that. So yeah, there was all...
What about the dude with the roller skates at the
I was going to
start?
say that was his flaw. He was on roller skates. That is his fundamental flaw.
He was inconsiderate.
Yeah, he asked him to turn his music down and he was like,
So
oh
it's
yeah,
like-
okay.
What
And then
about
just-
bit of a
the
shit.
scientist guy who got burned?
The guy that burned himself.
Yeah, did he burn himself?
Yeah, so he set
yeah.
himself on fire because he'd worked out that McCready was supposedly a thing, but
Yeah.
McCready was also running the show. And he was
But
like,
didn't he set
"I'm
fire to
out of
himself though? Because he was looking for someone, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he just randomly set fire to himself.
it." That's what they seem to say, that he burned himself.
I don't think he
They
did.
suggested
Possibility
it,
that
but
he
they
burned
don't
himself.
know. They thought he might have caught himself on fire while trying to burn someone else or something else. Then they suggested maybe he did it before it could get to them. Maybe the thing itself did it
But
to
what
him
was his flaw?
beforehand.
He was the one that didn't trust anybody even before it all started.
Oh, I thought that was the radio guy. Because the radio guy was always being told, have you got anyone yet? And he was just a bit sort of snippy and
The
didn't
radio guy was asleep at his post.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was
he's
always
like-
asleep.
He wasn't
He was
doing
Paul.
the job that he was there to do.
So basically,
Why
they all
the radio
died
guy
was
was
probably for
cool.
the best, really.
Yeah, so basically, again,
He put a
it
bunch
comes
of
back-
misfits in
it comes back
Antarctica.
down to whether them
So,
dying was the best.
I'm going to have to ask, what was the dog's flaw? I mean, it was perfect.
Weird ass eyes.
It was perfect. It was a beautiful example of a husky.
Creepy as fuck.
That wasn't a flaw. That was his merit in that
Dog's
casting.
creepy. I don't care which way you slice it. If I met that down the street, I'd be like...
While we're talking about the dog thing, I don't know why I'm half putting my hand up for this one. When it first started mutating, what was that weird discharge part?
It's a creepy special effect, to be honest.
But it's like...
Is it digesting the other dog? Is that
Yeah, so it's like acid in a sense.
So, it's like externally doing it, and
try
then
and stop the dog getting away. Because it sprays the dog, and because the dog's trying to bite through the fence, and it's
Which it does really effectively.
That is a good point. That suddenly that dog's intelligence has rocketed at the fear of this thing to be able to go, hang on, if I start eating, I can make a big hole.
No, that's just
through it.
That's just standard. That's just standard. Yeah, it's fight or flight.
Yeah.
You'll find a way to escape a situation.
I don't know.
That's just
Figuring
inbred.
out I can
That's just
pick at that.
inbred into it.
Dogs as a general breed, I'm pretty sure would just try to eat the fucker quickly. Wolves are not.
I'm not sure you would attack an obvious hell beast. To be honest, I think you might. I think your dog might.
I think dogs normally run
I just
away.
I don't think
They'll
the
bark
dogs
at it, then
are
run away.
Thinking about making a hole in the chain fence. If I start tugging at that loose wire there,
I don't know why you
you
decided to try and start making a hole at the top though, rather than the bottom.
Yeah,
because it
Maybe
was
that's
wood.
the-
Well, no, it's because
No, it was
it's
still-
already a hole.
I think it had also seen there was the beginnings of a hole.
Yeah, it
So
was
it's
already
easy to
there as
start,
a beginning.
chewing through that.
An animal is capable of making a hole and he wants to escape. From it, you know.
Fair enough. No, that's fine. So your point is just that the dog is creepy.
And the special effects are amazing when the dog starts going
So-
wrong.
Creature effects are awesome.
So what I was saying is that I put the special effects in the thing but in the same camp as the special effects in American Werewolf in London. Because there's been nothing like it before or since.
You've got The Fly, which is I would think the kind of obvious comparison,
Yeah, The
very
Fly is
similar.
also
Sort of, Fly was 1986,
Yeah, The
but that's
Fly
got
is
some
good.
pretty gribbly horror effects in it, and then
Yeah,
still.
him
seen
spitting
it.
on the guy's leg at the end is a great scene.
But he still looks absolutely fantastic to
Yeah,
this
it's good
day.
film.
And he's like sort of the very apex of practical effects.
But this is the thing, when we live in a world where every movie is just CG after CG after CG, it's interesting to go back and watch films that, like we all said, that film was made in 1978 and it's still the special
1982.
Yeah, 82. And the film still stands up today.
See, interestingly, I know you hate the new Ghostbusters remake, but
Yeah.
one of the things they did in that for the ghosts was they actually had people play the ghosts in costume, and then they added a ghost effect after. But that's a long time that's not been done.
Yeah,
Instead
but remember
of
the original
CGI -ing the
Ghostbusters
entire
ghosts look amazing.
No, I agree, but they this time round they kind of did the same thing.
We have seen practical effects in it because Mad Max Fury Road had a lot of practical effects, and that's why they tarted it up with CG. But fundamentally, loads of the stunts were done with practical effects. He drove all those cars around,
Christopher Nolan
and that's why it looks great.
actively dislikes CG.
Yeah, he does.
Sometimes you've got to have it. Sometimes you know practical effects are not going to cut it.
Yeah.
But
So if you go back and watch Inception, there's a load of stuff in Inception. Bear in mind, Inception's got a lot of special effects in it. But if you go back and look at the aspects of Inception, the scene where everything's
gravity.
exploding, where everything's blowing up, where they start having coffee or whatever, and everything's exploding, they just had massive air cannons and they just fired stuff into the air to make those effects. The
gravity bit, that bit's has
built
really
the corridor and then just rotated the corridor.
I think it's more of the thing with practical effects compared to CG is that there's something the actor can actually work with, and it's very obvious when an actor is working with a prop as opposed to kind of flailing at something that might be.
Well, Ewan McGregor complained a load, didn't he, when he did
Star
the
Wars
Star
probably,
Wars
yeah.
ones? That
Yes, because he was
You
forever
basically just
staring at
But
Jar
so,
Jar.
a green room and a
Ian
box.
McKellen when he did The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Like,
So
apparently he had a bit of a breakdown, didn't he?
Of
Just
course, if you Lord of the Rings films have got amazing they've got loads of CG, but the practical effects in those films are
Yeah.
absolutely top notch.
They used
yeah.
a huge amount of CGI on models and things to make them better. So the water scenes flooding the tower, that's all the real thing. They've just used special effects to make the water better.
There's a good reason why
Because
the
the whole
orcs
thing was
in
a
Lord of the
better model.
Rings
It was
look a
just a
hell of a
really
lot
good
better
model.
than they do in The Hobbit. Because in The Hobbit, they're just like video game characters. Whereas in Lord of the Rings, they look like,
actual people.
like actual people. They move like actual people because you know they are.
Yeah, that's true.
Europe's beautiful.
There's a lot to be said for both special effects and practical effects. I mean, going back to American Werewolf in London, I don't think there has been a werewolf change seen in anything.
I have to admit, I've not seen it in years.
I don't know. I mean, the Harry Potter one got a bit uppity there. The parents were a bit worried the kids would get scared by their changeover. I'm just saying it was terrifying for them.
I don't know what he's talking about.
In the Harry Potter, one of the more recent, I can't remember, Prisoner of Azkaban, there's a werewolf scene in there, but the parents took
Professor
uproar 'cause
Lupin.
It was too graphic. It was too graphic. It was fucking terrible. I kind of have to agree on him. There's some. Have you not seen Underworld? Underworld did a great transition effect, really sort of bone-cracking, jumpy motion.
Wasn't that CG though?
Yeah.
It was. I think there's little bits of
Been a long time since I saw
animatronics
that.
in there to make certain bits, but a lot of it is CGI.
Not
But it
seen
was
the
still a
new
very
one.
good transitional effect. I don't know what the werewolf one you've seen is.
It's good.
I've not seen
American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, I mean, the
It's a very big
changeover
change.
to CG in its entirety was probably like the mid-noughties, probably, when practical effects pretty much disappeared entirely.
So Jurassic Park, I know we've mentioned Jurassic Park a lot this evening, but Jurassic Park was probably the last ditch attempt at animatronics and
No, Jurassic Park was 1993. There was a lot of films even after that that still used them because CG was really expensive back in the early 90s.
Well, Lucas kind of really profited on it when he did.
Yeah, because Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park, same sort of era, and they were like, really ahead of their time in their CG effects, but they were really dear. You didn't see a lot of them.
No, that's true though.
And they still relied a lot on
The biggest
practical stuff
CG
in between.
in Terminator 2 was the actual forming of the T-1000, not the liquid coming together when it was like...
Sure, and of course
Yeah,
Terminator
when
2
it-
is
hair
still...
dryer.
Exactly, but when it was like half a man.
I remember
Some solder and a hairdryer.
Yeah.
the bit at the beginning where you see the future and you see the T800. That is a model of a T800. That is
Yeah.
not a CG one.
Yeah,
It's fucking brilliant as well.
Going back to Terminator. One of the things that they wanted to do right at the end of Terminator when they crushed the T800 was they needed.
Spoilers.
Right, if you haven't seen Terminator by now,
Statute of Limitations, Paul.
Terminator or
1984.
either one, does it matter?
I've never seen Terminator, but I've seen bits of Terminator 2.
I'm sorry, Statute of
can't-
Limitations,
you
Paul.
can't
I'm
blame
going
me.
to have to call this.
On a
Yeah, I guess it
30-year
doesn't give
film.
it a spoiler when it's a
I'm
mini.
not-
So
I'm
based on
not- we're
that
not putting
sequel, it's
spoiler
safe to
alerts
say
on
they beat it in the first one.
Or
Not
Terminator,
spoil
it's
shit.
even on. So they crushed the head. The two things that they wanted to do was they wanted to have the red eye go out to signify that it had died, and they wanted like smoke sort of thing. So the way they did it was they had the red light on a power supply, which they turned the power down so the thing went out, and they had somebody with a cigarette going to make the smoke.
But
Practical effects at its greatest.
on the other hand, into the original Terminator, the stop motion skeleton looks fucking rubbish.
Yeah.
And it looked rubbish even at the time.
Yeah, it did.
And that's aged like mayonnaise in the sun.
Yeah, there's when the vehicle explodes behind them and he's like, oh no, and the vehicle explodes like that.
There's a lot of romance towards practical effects, but there was good practical effects, but we seem to forget all the really fucking terrible
Yeah, there's some
ones.
pretty
So,
bad stuff out there.
I never watched Terminator and thought,
For every pumpkin head, there was an Ewok.
So hang on a second here. Obviously, I'm being really dense here, but I'm like, so practical effects is physical
Anything
setup of anything that you'd have to physically do yourself.
So yeah, if we
you
made
mean
you
like
look like
practical?
Jason
a
the
monster,
Argonauts.
That
and
is
we had to fight
yeah,
a monster.
It is practical effects.
It was
And but if we
modelling,
CG
stop
you, then
animation
that
in
would be,
post on, but it's anything physical basically.
Yeah. So an explosion that you've actually had to set yourself and charge.
Yeah, like an actual car stunt is a practical effect, which is why they look a lot better than CG car stunts.
Which is what things like James Bond do.
Sure, and they still look great.
They do. And
Because
it's
why wouldn't
possible.
That's why United Artists went out of business, because they were making $130 million films that made $130 million at the cinema. It was like, we didn't break even on this one. I think one of them cost like 130 million and they made 180
But it's easy to see why practical effects have gone out of fashion because they're expensive in their own way.
Yeah.
They're very difficult. Like, you know, if you want to do like a CG car, just farm it off to Korea for them to animate it over the however long, throw money at them. Well, that's who does that. It's not, you know, that's they do almost all the CG animation.
That's true.
North Korea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
North
they're
Korea,
really
the
well
cottage
renowned.
industry
They're
and computer
massively
generated.
renowned for that, actually. Yeah.
No,
and they love doing American film
see
CGI. That's their
Well,
favourite.
remember, if you want to do like
They're really nice people, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're a really
awesome.
sort of patient and welcoming nation.
I feel like we're a bit off topic.
No, not this.
I feel like
Well, we're talking about practical effects, and you can't talk about the thing without talking about practical effects.
No, I didn't mean that. I don't think the thing's got anything to do with North Korea.
No, that's just Paul chatting shit. I was hoping to get off that eventually.
But it's proving difficult.
So, as somebody who's seen at least half of the thing for the first time, and somebody who's seen the thing for the first time since they were 6 years old, I keep going back to that one.
It still made him jump there, didn't it?
Yeah.
Paul squealed like a little girl.
Squealed like a little girl.
Anybody want to dispute that one?
Yes, me.
Outvoted, I'm afraid.
Looks like you're outvoted one.
This is a
2,
democracy,
3, 4.
not like
You're outvoted 5 to 1.
I can probably agree that the first jumpy scene was probably more me.
Yeah, Paul.
But the second
You were
one
both
was
quite entertaining.
definitely
James's
When
face, the first one.
when the hands
It's
went
not. It's
through
not
the
really
thing.
fair though
It's the
because
first-
you all know it's
so
coming,
soft.
so none of you are watching the TV. You're just watching me and Paul.
Yes, it's quite entertaining.
Was the first
I've seen the
one,
thing a
was
lot,
the first
so-
one the dog? No, the first one was the dog. Wasn't it?
No, the first one that we both jumped at was when he was like trying to resuscitate
I thought that was
the
the
heart
second
attack guy.
No,
The second one was where they did the
With the
blood.
blood.
And like the little head, was it a head came
Like
out
the
of the
old
blood?
thing came out.
And Paul went, "Oh,
Yeah, like us being past a basketball.
passing a basketball."
Yeah, no,
But it was entertaining.
It's just a cautionary measure, and then the actual
No,
body
that-
goes nuts and the head goes up, jumps to the ceiling, and then it opens up and
But yeah, it's one of the great joys about watching any film with a jump scare that you've seen before and other people haven't.
That's what makes it
Yeah,
entertaining.
exactly.
Otherwise,
the
what's
other
the point?
people shit themselves.
That's why
So, for me-
blokes watch horror films and invite their girlfriends around to go, have you seen this horror film? No, neither have I, let's watch it. And then you can be like, and they go, ooh, and you go, ha ha. Well, it works for me.
Moving
James
system.
Keats' Guide to Dating.
So for any
That's
girls,
right.
so for any girls that are on James's hit list, you know what he's up to.
Yeah, I've already
Use
seen
the word
film.
any.
So for the girls that are
There
in
you go.
existence listening to this podcast,
Any
when
girls
James
that-
Still a very
eventually
limited.
Watching this.
when James eventually gets round to dating you, he will adopt that technique.
I feel you make me sound
The Thing
Terrible.
is in my top 10 films of all
Yes,
time.
I heard from your two's podcast. You both agreed it's on there. And
I
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Sam may have used the phrase "Stone Cold Classic."
And it is. And I'm not sorry, Paul.
That doesn't sound like a Sam thing to say.
Stone Cold Classic. And I stand by Sam's statement. as
This
Stone
is
Cold.
a
I
man who,
would-
by the looks of it, actually
It's-
has the
I would
Sharp
have-
box set
I would
in
have
his
to agree
DVD
that-
collection.
You know, I'm not going to go into
Sharp is
Sharp
awesome.
because Sharp is amazing.
Sharp's good.
Sharp was a very good series.
Such a
I'm sorry.
weird-
Well, I mean, how many,
Well-
you know,
I mean,
how many times can one actor say "you
Well,
bastard"
you know when we did the
across
podcast
God knows
with the
how many
chef?
series?
Yeah.
They've got the
You
sharp.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Because the owner of that house is an avid Sean Bean fan.
Well, Sharp's just really good. Sorry, don't be dissing the Sharp.
No, seen being good.
We're going really off topic now. But, you know, costume drama is like what we, as we British, excel at.
Yeah. And Sharp
I,
is done.
I feel like he's going to admit to liking something that he probably shouldn't admit.
We've got this hornblower up there as well. You know.
He's got Hornblow's really good too. Yeah, that is also a very good series.
I'm fairly sure there's more costume drama up there around this house.
Is that the costume drama show?
It isn't, but there is some more hiding around this apartment.
Hiding. It's like, shh.
Sam's secret love for costume drama.
It's like I've got the boys coming around, I'll leave all the porn out. But, costume drama, that's going into the thing.
Bringing it back to the thing, can I just say,
Out of 10, what would you give it?
is 10 excellent and 1 bad?
That's generally how this works, yeah.
It's not
Sound
Unless we're in
doesn't.
Doctor Who's world.
It's not getting more than 4.
Don't get knocked off.
You better hold it back.
I know, I'll give it a go. I'll talk about it, but It's not
Even
going
though
up
it
in my
makes you jump.
Can we adopt Sam's
5
principle? Because, like he said, 10 is a bit stupid.
You both do
My
your own
principle
separate
is
film
always
rating.
the out of 10 scale is 10, 9, 7, 8, shit. So what's the point? Just use out of 5.
Okay.
So out of 5.
Well, 2. Well, if I gave it 4, if I gave it 4 out of 10, I can do maths.
We wouldn't be watching that film.
Stiff shot.
We'd be like 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5?
It wasn't.
You fell asleep.
That's because it was a dark room and it was nappy nap time.
I'm not sure. In fairness, I don't think we can say if Paul fell asleep and use that as any judge of anything beyond. So it was above about 7 o'clock in the evening. It's like Paul's fallen asleep.
Alright, well, you could always ask Tom about that and he'll tell you about the time that Paul fell asleep at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So.
And what did Tom do to you?
He probably dick slapped me. I've no idea.
Why don't remember it?
Story all the time. So, Paul invited me around to watch the football and then I went to sleep. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
No.
And I videoed it and sent it to everybody
Well,
else.
that was different though because that was on a Sunday.
There's a lot of action coming from the corner of the room at the moment, isn't there?
There is.
That rustling you can hear is Sam's
The
roommate.
7th podcaster in the room.
It's Sam's roommate.
The silent podcast.
Who's also got a story about Paul falling asleep. And it's like,
That's why it's making a noise. It wants to be
Incidentally,
noticed.
the hamster really likes the thing and has much better taste in films than Paul, and is a literal hamster. So.
Why am I getting nailed here? I'm not the one who just gave it 2.
Sorry,
I could
so-
possibly
You
I could
didn't have to give it a
possibly
rating.
give
What was
it
your rating?
2.5 out of 5.
That's why it's out of 10.
But I can't give it a full point, but I can give it a little bit extra.
I give it solid 2.78.
Purely for Kurt Russell's hat. this has to be talked about.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's
he wears
worth
it
the point.
seriously and non-ironically. He just puts that hat on every time he gets in the helicopter. He's like, hat on, I'm flying a helicopter.
No, but have you noticed though?
Like
It's not
having
just
Joe
when he's
Biden
flying the
does.
helicopter. The hat's only on when he's flying the helicopter, but it's on his back. Have you not noticed the
If
thought?
I was a
It's
helicopter
around his-
pilot, I would feel a right to wear a silly hat, frankly. So
Yeah.
he's
I
earned it.
suppose, like we said, if
It's
you're
like
in
having
Antarctica,
driving
does it
gloves.
really matter what you wear?
It's like having driving gloves. What the fuck?
Certain type of person in the world has a pair of driving. I'm off for a drive.
You know what? It's like driving gloves.
Yeah, that's true.
That is
good point.
what the hat
This
is.
is the first time
The
Ed has
spring
ever
back
been
just
right
gives you a
about
bit of
it.
extra
This is the
I
man who owns.
think it's at least a second.
This is the man who owns arm socks, though.
Hey,
Yeah, it does.
don't worry. They're my walking socks.
I'm amazed that you have. I'm amazed that I've still never seen you wearing sock suspenders.
Well, maybe at the weekend.
You could have come round to Ed's house today and you would have seen him not wearing socks.
Yeah.
Or trousers.
I mean, I've gone to pick him up before and I've seen him answer the door not wearing a shirt.
Oh, I think that.
He
He came to work without the shirt.
Yeah, yeah, but this was different. It was a case of Ed. What time are we getting picked up? About 10:30 or something. So you answer the door at 10:30 and say, "Don't suppose you could just let me have a shower, could you?" But you knew I was picking you up at 10:30.
No,
And Aaron has to let
Insane.
I would like to point out that
Wow.
the original plan of this was a
Okay,
pickup
then.
more about 12 o'clock,
And then
midday.
it changed at 8 o'clock the night before.
I don't pay attention to any of these WhatsApp chats, so I didn't know.
Ladies, keep your dirty laundry
To
to
give him his dues, Panas left his phone in the car today, went out to get it and came back and he just went, 68 messages! 68 messages! I was like,
That's not me being super popular. I'll just point out there's 68 messages in one
Of our
WhatsApp
group.
channel of you lot.
Yeah,
I know.
my mate can talk.
I know
There's
it's
a
wrong.
group that I'm in, like where he came back and was like, "Yes, I've just been driving somewhere. I've picked up my phone. There was 240 messages or something like that." It's like, what? the
Yeah,
fuck?
I put your beat
I
on
woke
that
up to
for the
90-something
fucking World
messages.
Cup.
Yeah,
The
that's because
bloody World Cup, you lot.
yeah.
Good Jesus, you invited me to something you knew I wasn't going to come to.
So why
and
don't you remove
grateful.
yourself from the group instead of just muting the group
don't
and then turning
have
back on and
to
saying
do
this
it.
that's
You
why I was
You
doing
mean like Tom did?
But the
What's
group
this
is
group
now
for?
gone
World
back to
Cup,
people,
I'm out.
So
Yeah, well, you want to come and watch the football with you? Well, I don't do that. See ya. Tom has left the group. Almost instantaneously after the group was set up.
So, how many out of 5?
It kept me entertained all throughout. So that
Until that 10
has to be at least a
not
3.
awake. Is that?
Hey, I don't fall asleep during films because I'm not entertained by it. I fall asleep because I'm tired. And if the lights aren't on, Sleeping is fair game.
Like a parrot or something.
If you ever throw a blanket over me, I'll be asleep in seconds.
Just test the theory.
I was going to say, go get a blanket.
I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
Oh,
Three plus 2 makes 5, so that's 5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's only 5 out of 10.
That's 5, isn't it?
I'm not sure that's how maths works.
Yeah, if we're marking out of 5,
3 plus
if
2
we
is
both
5.
mark out of 5, that's
but we're
how
not. Yeah, I was going to say, we're not
Yeah,
adding
yeah.
the 5s and 5s together though. We're just choosing to ignore that part of the maths.
Listen, maths
3
is
plus
maths,
2
man.
It's
makes
5.
5, right?
So that's all we need.
So that is right.
So it's a perfect movie, is what you're saying.
The only other option is
You're
you rated it 2 and 3 out of 5, and that doesn't sound right to me. So
It's
I've just assumed it was a joint
Obviously, it
effort.
was a mixed effort.
Which would make 5, which is correct. That's what we'd expect. 5 out of 5 for
So
the
your
thing.
collective view is it's the perfect film,
Which is really good.
which is the right answer.
Yeah.
As we know.
Ta-da!
You're allowed to have your own
If any of
game
you
on it.
viewers disagree, feel free to leave your comments on YouTube.
I
Unless
feel
you're going to
that
say
I feel that I
the
came
thing
into
is
this
worth less than 5 and we're
looking
supposed
to give it a
comment.
low score, only because the premise was we'll watch the film and then we'll talk about how good it is, and immediately I'm like, no, we'll watch the film and then decide how good it is.
See, I'm amazed that Sam hasn't cracked out the you're wrong
But any
and
film
you're
that-
grotesquely ugly freak.
Surely
It's
though-
basically just said that whether you were weighing it in your watch.
Surely
I am
though,
being slightly,
that's-
you know,
that's a
because
classic.
I've seen you. It is a classic, but that
From
doesn't
that
make it
many years
bulletproof
ago,
either.
it's going to be 5 for everything.
I'm being facetious because you know, in the same way that you can rate a Beatles album if you want, because you can't give a Beatles album 2 out of 5. Why not? You're allowed
Some people
to.
hate the
The
Beatles.
Beatles was massively overrated and no one
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You're allowed to say that as well about the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I give the Beatles massive credit for the influence they had on music, but I hated their music. I love every other version of their music. Jackson did a great cover. Jim Carrey did a great cover. Billy Collins done a great cover.
Yeah.
But the Beatles' music itself was terrible.
Wait, sorry, I just missed that. As in Michael Jackson?
Yeah, Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. Smooth Criminal was originally a Beatles one, wasn't it?
No.
Who did Smooth Criminal originally?
What the fuck?
Michael Jackson?
No, I think the original was by Alien Ant Farm, wasn't it?
No. I thought Smooth Criminal was a Beatles originally.
Oh, Paul,
I
redeemed.
thought he-
Oh man, I need to do a bad lip reading and put Smooth Criminal to a Beatles song. That's got to be done.
Bringing it back to the
No,
thing.
I quite genuinely did.
Genuinely speaking, what aspects did you dislike about it? You could say, would you think it had poorly paced? Did you find it dated? Both of which I think would be fair.
I think-
even if I disagree.
At the start, I can't remember if it was like at the start of the film or before the film, where we were trying to decide whether it was psychological thriller, sci-fi, horror.
It's all.
And the
all
general idea was it was horror. It wasn't for me.
To be fair, you
in
guys,
any way.
you guys all seem to land on the fact that it was a horror.
I think if
Well,
you're
would
in
you
that situation, it
consider
would
The
be quite
Shining a
horrible.
horror film?
Never seen it.
That doesn't help.
Oh.
But the point is not. There's
But-
a lot
but
of
probably-
horrible things happen in The
probably
Shining, but it is still a horror film.
The fact that I
Because
haven't
it's a
seen it is
horrible
probably because I do
situation.
think it's horror, because I actively avoid horror.
So I don't know. I don't know if I call The Shining a horror movie.
Is that not a psychological thriller?
That's what I would
But
call
the
it.
point is, it straddles the line, which type of thing does.
Yeah.
You could call The Shining a horror film, and no one would a few people would contradict you on that. You would be
If
found in the
called it
horror
a
section of
psychological-
it.
If you called it a psychological thriller, I don't think anybody would dispute that.
Yeah,
side
you're
of it
right.
either.
And I'm pretty sure that the thing comes under horror. If you look it up, it definitely comes under horror.
I know. I was always the impression it was, but having watched it now, disappointing.
But in compare it to something like Alien, for example, would you consider Alien a horror film?
I've not seen
Yes.
Alien.
Okay, the point is,
I'm interested in you two are sat next to
You
me.
are ticking all the boxes here.
The
John.
point is,
Absolutely.
I don't
in-
know,
in,
but
in
I-
Alien, not that okay, everyone dies, but it's not that bloody, it's not that gory. Yeah, okay, your statutes of limitations are fucking Alien. So, but the point is that okay, there's a big gory scene like there is in the thing.
Yeah.
But in general,
Not a lot happens.
most of it is kind of tense in the
It's a
sense.
suspense.
Exactly.
film.
You would consider Alien a horror film.
And it's a jump
Yeah, I
scare.
think-
Would you consider Halloween a horror film?
It's my last answer.
It is, but then it comes under a type of horror, though, doesn't it? It's a slasher flick, which is
But in
horror.
Halloween, not that many people die.
No, that's true, but it's a horrible
I
situation.
do enjoy horror films.
Have you seen
But,
Alien?
so at the moment, but the thing with horror is that they sort of create like a subcategory of horror, which was the slasher movie.
Yeah, there's the splatter films.
But like,
So-
like Alien is like sci-fi horror.
Yeah, and so is Halloween. Is the point is that's more like Alien. It's more like a slow burning thing. But then you've got things like Nightmare on Elm Street, which is very much a slasher film.
Yeah.
So my
Right.
go-to horror sort of genre at the minute is probably Saw, like the Saw films.
Are they just gore?
I would call them torture porn style films. They are
Torture porn.
Yeah, torture porn. Yeah, that's what they're.
I don't like the Saw films.
If I make
Yeah,
it easier
yeah,
for you,
that's what they
the
are.
two, hands down, the two scariest films I've ever seen, and you're probably going to laugh because they're lame, they've both been mentioned to Andy, but The Descent, I find that I find that really scary.
That is an
I can
ugly
say
scary
I've not
film.
seen that one.
But
So.
I'm with Sam. I haven't seen it yet.
Right, I suggest
is
you
a
watch
horror.
that one.
That's a horror film.
I find it scary. And the other one, we were talking about this earlier today, that I've never been able to watch it since, is It. It's scary as fuck.
So,
But
when
the
you were talking
original,
about seeing
not the
that
remake.
when you were 6, it
I
reminded
saw It when I was about the
It
same
reminded
age
me
as
of
well.
that. So my brother hired It when he was about 11, 12, and he had his friends over to watch it.
How did he hire
I
that?
think my parents got. Was
TV
it not? Was it
movie.
not
Yeah,
a 12?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's very definitely an
It
18,
would have been
isn't
18
it?
at the time.
So my parents
and
obviously
you
got
got
it.
No,
No, the original.
So the original when
Not too hard from like the 80s.
that was in the
But it would've been
90s, was it?
18.
Or was
No,
it
it's
80s?
80s. It's 80s, isn't it?
So my brother hired it, and his friends
I've
came on to
definitely
watch
seen
it,
it
and it was
a long
on
time ago.
during the middle of the day. And I remember sort of being in the living room when they were watching it, and I had to physically leave the room
Yeah.
because it literally terrified me. And I'd either hide behind the sofa or just leave the room.
I do need to
altogether.
check though. You're not one of these people that are scared of it because they've got a clown.
No, I've
Issue.
never got the clown.
People-
film.
How old
people
were you
do
when
have
you saw
plans.
it though.
7.
Oh, yeah.
But the point is, you're going to
Yeah.
find a lot of things scary when
Yeah.
you're 7.
It is a 15.
It's a 15, right?
The
Okay.
original.
Was it originally though? Because Young Guns
No,
was
It was 15.
and now it's.
And it was like 1990.
Because I found Moomin terrifying when I was little, but you know, it
I don't
doesn't
know.
mean
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, the Moomins.
Oh, is it the
What was
TV show?
the purple?
Zelda
Movies.
from Terror
Yeah.
Box.
Yeah, the
That
purple
was
snow thing.
the Groke.
Thank you. The Grove was a tremendously creepy concept for a kid.
As was the Lady of Cold, the one who, if you looked into her eyes, turned you to so well. She turned you to
I
But-
think
but-
I think the problem with it as well
And the
was that
Wizard
for
of
a
Oz.
while he sort of put me off McDonald's
What do you want?
because he sort of reminded me a little bit of Ronald McDonald. So he kind of ruined McDonald's for me for a while.
No, I think all I was trying to say with those two is that that's what I can give you as what scares me. But because of watching it as a kid, it's just put me off horror
There
for
are some films,
the rest of my life.
Which is it Cabin Fever is one film I could
Yeah.
watch more than once.
I liked Cabin Fever.
I
I
hated
quite
it.
enjoyed it,
Wait,
and it is a bit
What kind of
gruesome.
film that you've seen?
Isn't that when the?
That's the one with the flesh-eating virus, and I
Yeah.
could watch it more than once. I could barely make it through the first time round.
Is that because you thought it was a poor film, or just
No, I
like
found it
poor
genuine.
execution?
It's something I really got to me. I just didn't like it one bit. So
Oh right,
it's-
so it legitimately sort of like not terrified you as such, but
It's such an
agreed.
awful concept. So.
Two films that are up there on my.
Yeah, because it was in the water spray.
Yeah, it's just, I really didn't like it at all.
Yeah, it's quite scary. It's quite a horrible
The
film.
Ring is one of the most terrifying films.
Which one? The remake of the Japanese one.
The Japanese one.
I
Boring
would
as
like,
fuck, but
I
that's
would
just
like
me.
to guess at the second film you're going to say, because we've had this conversation before where you've said Old Boy.
That's not a horror film.
I'm sure you said that. Is that the one where
a
the
very
scene
violent
where it
film.
eats a live octopus or something like that?
Oh yeah, there's a scene in Old Boy where he's like.
It's
Is
a
Old
horrible
Boy
film,
one of
I'm not
the
sure
like
it's
Asian
horror.
fighting film ones?
It's a Korean film.
Yeah.
The other one is and this is probably a really weird one, but the remake of Evil Dead.
The 2013 one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember James there. I mean, it scared me.
I can't tell you what it is about it. I've only ever watched it once, and I was like,
I found it fairly unremarkable.
I quite like the tongue cutting scene
Yeah, I
is
suppose.
that the scene in the bathroom?
where she like cuts her tongue in. Like, I
Ah!
thought that was really cool. Actually, she's like. I
Yeah,
thought that's quite cool. I quite,
stop.
that was cleverly
That's
done.
that.
I like the way it
That's
was done. I like those simple, cheap effects. It's good. Bit of prosthetics. It's great fun.
Simple, cheap effects.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
surprised you
Ring
don't
is an
enjoy the Saw
interesting
films.
choice because
I do.
it's a film that I've never really liked because nothing really happens in it.
So nothing happens all the way through until the end. But that's part of the sort of the appeal around it is that it builds the suspense throughout that entire film. You never see anything. It's a 15, You never see anything happen in that film. You just see what the result is.
You admittedly you don't see anything, and that's.
And then the last 4 minutes of that film, everything's revealed in the last 4 minutes, and it is just like that's terrifying.
Because I usually quite like your K and your J horror. Because like The Grudge, I felt was somewhat more interesting.
The Grudge was good. The Japanese Grudge
the
was
original
good.
one.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
And you've got things like in the K horror was always very similar to J horror. Things like
are we talking Japanese, Korean?
Right. Dark Water, was that Japanese or Korean? I think that was Japanese.
That's a good film.
It's not a genre I would ever pick to. I mean, I'm just thinking like
they just do some good. They do some interesting horror movies every so often.
To watch list for a while because I've heard that's really quite mean spirited.
Get that watched.
That's a Korean one, isn't it?
What's that?
The Audition.
I've seen that. That's a good film.
I keep getting told to watch the Purge films, but I'm kind of a bit apprehensive about those.
I'm not sure. Are they horror films or they
watched the Purge.
I call them thrillers.
Are they slasher films?
Yeah,
Again, I don't know. I feel like
I'd put that as a slasher film.
They have their grotesque bits, but they're not really scary.
Yeah, I'd
unless
put
the
that into
concept bothers
the
you.
slasher.
I probably find a lot of modern horror films to be a bit obvious, like The Conjuring. I've always said it's just like, oh, what's going on? It's like, is it a spooky ghost? And it's like, oh, what could this be? Who's rattling all these pictures? What could this be? Is it a spooky ghost? And then eventually, Ned's like, guys, you'll never believe this. It was a spooky ghost all along.
Here's a question. What would you class Paranormal Activity as?
Shit.
The first one is not shit. The
Yeah,
first
the
one is
first
very
one
good.
is
Psychological.
The
horror.
first
It's really
one's
good, and
good.
at times that's one that made me jump.
It's a psychological horror.
It's sort of had its reputation tarnished by its many shit sequels.
Yeah, exactly.
But the first one's a good film.
The
Yeah,
problem
it
with
is
that was didn't they sort of like they were a bit surreptitious with the facts, weren't they? They said it was like found footage.
Yeah, it's like Blair Witch.
A lot of people thought it was legit.
Well, I was thinking Blair Witch. Like everyone lost their minds with Blair Witch.
I've
You know, the best one of the best things about Blair Witch was the website.
My housemate
The
at the
website
time
was excellent.
So the actors from the Blair Witch had to go into hiding after that film was when that film was about to be released. They had to go into hiding so that they could keep the illusion that it was found footage.
Yeah.
So for months they were like.
Yeah, the website, the way the website was done was like it was a proper criminal case, and it was like a real. The website was excellent.
An exercise in like.
I say
great
all the stuff surrounding it is
Pretty
fascinating.
much,
Like I say, the website and all the stuff. It's more fascinating as a concept. The actual film itself has almost no worth whatsoever.
Yeah,
because outside of it.
Because my housemate at the time was like apprehensive of watching it. And so I don't know why he wanted me to watch it with him, because I'm like the worst for horror or whatever. And like, we both just sat there, and at the end of it thought, well, that was
odd.
Not slightly scary.
No, but
most people left the cinema with seasickness.
Yeah, but wasn't there, you heard all these stories about people like, leaving the cinema and then like, there'd be like knobheads that have been like, like building piles of stones and stuff at the cars and stuff to like try and shit them up or whatever. Like, what?
It's a film where its reputation very much precedes it. You've got a problem with things like The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff like that.
Texas Chainsaw
But
I just love the story of how it was made.
But that's the point. It's more interesting conceptually than it is as an actual film. I'm not a massive fan of the film.
So the guy, when they were filming it, the guy that played Leatherface apparently had really bad food poisoning, was proper ill, and it was like 40-degree heat, and he was chasing the girl up the stairs with the chainsaw, and she literally was running for her life. Jumped out the top story window, sprained her ankle, and kind of limped away, and he just chased after her, and they just kept filming. The guy was off his tree, and he had a real chainsaw. So it's like there's little stories like that about it, which just moments in filming where you're just like, wow, people film things that way.
The thing I always found that was really weird about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the end. He's dressed in a suit. He's just running around in like white shirt, black tie, jacket, the ties
waving his thing,
swinging the chainsaw.
That was one of the banned ones, wasn't it? Texas Chainsaw, one of the Evil Dead. And
yeah,
stuff.
It was.
And that's one of the reasons I said, I have to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I have to see the Evil Dead. You watch it was kind of like, I guess. Really.
Evil Dead was banned for the tree rape scene, though, wasn't it? That's why it got banned.
It was a video nasty. I mean, it was banned alongside a lot of other things.
But go back and watch Evil Dead. One of the worst bits in the original Evil Dead is the pencil in the ankle.
Yeah, it is.
That is it's like, oh.
Well, the first Evil Dead
Jags
film
it in
isn't
and twists
funny
it
at all,
round and
really.
snaps it off.
It's more of a straight horror film, really. And the second one's more of a remake of the first one.
Yeah, it was a bit comedy, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then by the time you get to Army of Darkness, and it's just gone full retard.
It's something like if you start a timer within 4 minutes of the second one started.
It's the genre that I try and avoid. So.
There's just a lot of horror films around these days. Like, we seem to release a new one every 5 minutes at the cinema. And it makes it quite tough to find what... Because there are good ones that are released. If it's just a whole lot of garbage. I'd say just these jumpy horror films are just designed to make teenagers jump at the cinema. Yeah. And they've almost no worth whatsoever. But occasionally, if you used to talk about the Babadook, you had less than kind things to say about it.
It's just because I watched it with a couple of mates, and we like, halfway through we were just like, what the fuck are we watching here?
That's more of a psychological. That's more like Shining.
My hand rates that up there as one.
We didn't watch it to the end.
It is a good horror film.
I really enjoyed it. What are we watching?
The Witch or The Vitch is a great film as well.
See, I wasn't too keen on that.
If you want something fairly straightforward, I think I've mentioned it on the podcast actually, The Black Coat's Daughter is a good one, if you like sort of slow burning, sickly horror.
It was just, I was waiting for more. It was a bit too slow burning, to the point where I was like, come on, something needs to happen.
If you want something, speaking back all the way back around to practical effects again, The Void is worth a watch if you fancy something a bit more. That's 2016, and that's a bit Hellraiser if you like that sort of. I think you'd like The Void.
Yeah, I like that if it's a bit Hellraiser. I like Hellraiser.
Great films.
Yeah.
First two anyway.
4.
Which one had the Doctor?
The first two.
The first two.
Second one. Dr. Chenard.
Dr. Chenard, yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to get in, finally gets there and becomes one of the new Hellraisers.
The new Cenobite.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm taking over this operation.
Yeah. You have to have a chat with little Chris at work. He's a major fan of them. Put half the characters on his arms.
Really?
Yeah, he's like Candy. He's tattooed himself, but he had the whole of his arm right through to his chest at the moment. It's becoming one large Hellraiser masterpiece. Absolutely loves them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just something for you to have a... There you go.
Who's little Chris?
The cleaner at work.
I don't know
He doesn't clean our building now, though.
No, he's well row, unfortunately, isn't he? He's more of the supervisor or something, isn't he?
What?
What?
This is like video silence.
I've no idea. So yeah, Hellraiser.
Tumbleweed has just rolled through.
Yeah, I don't know why.
When I was at school,
I was vague about it.
one of the films that my mate said that was the scariest film they'd ever seen was Event Horizon.
Great film! Let's watch Event Horizon right now and then talk about that.
I nearly wore my Event Horizon t-shirt today.
That's a great film.
Oh, I could go for Event Horizon.
I've got to offer is I know what an Event Horizon is.
I've seen it.
I haven't.
I'm actually
in
I
bits.
haven't seen it.
I'll get it on the... I will acquire a definite legal Blu-ray disc of it.
Because that's not incriminating on a recording at all.
I may first acquire a semi-legitimate evaluation copy, you understand? I've never seen the film before.
Oh, Sam.
Gosh, what's this bay where you can find?
eBay.
Bear in mind the number of... I don't want to use the word lectures that Sam has given me today about things that shouldn't be on the podcast. I think you'd be the last person to be just there going, I'm doing lots of illegal things on video.
There's nothing illegal. I'm acquiring a Blu-ray disc this very second.
I mean, I'm quite surprised there's not an FBI warning on your screen right now.
And Amazon.co.uk, where I am at this very second.
I'm pretty sure Amazon is perfectly legitimate.
Retry for live.
Oh my god.
Keep going.
I think we've probably exhausted our conversation of the thing at this point.
I want to know what their favourite scenes were, considering they gave them a 2 and a 3. Perfect film in unison. What was the favourite scene?
Go on then, if you had to give a favourite, was it the bit that made you jump or was it McCready's hat?
It wasn't just his hat. Like, I mean,
was it the
Kurt Russell's a good-looking man in that film, isn't he?
He's a whole hunk of man. Yeah.
So your favourite bit
I
of
was
that whole
thinking
film?
this.
Anything with
I couldn't tell you what an attractive man is if you put a gun to my head.
Yes, you could.
Yes, you
Come on.
Channing fucking Tate.
He's always straight in there, isn't he? He's always straight in there.
You've got this idea though that if you admit that you can find a man attractive, that it's going to make you gay. No, I'm looking at him. This guy.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've said that. I think...
No, but your face is saying it.
You can't possibly know what is attractive. Of course you know what.
Yeah, no, if anyone here was going to shy off the topic of who they found attractive, it would be one of those two. I can't see him going, no, I'm not gonna rate a bloke. His sexual preferences are so far out there at times, it's hard to even imagine him going, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't think that exists in his vocabulary.
I've never said that...
If I put these on your nipples, nah, that's fine by me, love.
Yeah, I've
Can I
never
try and hold
said
wax?
that I
No,
wouldn't
that's
find
absolutely
guys
fine.
attractive.
Can I stick this somewhere you're not expecting?
No, it was just your reaction to my comment there, like...
It's fine.
No, because what's your favourite scene? Oh, well, Kurt Russell's horny. That's like...
Not saying that!
Scene, is it? That's a character in the film.
May I suggest that little 5-minute spell was
Gets
possibly
cut.
the most off-topic anything has ever got in the podcast. Ever.
Oh, I don't
It's
know.
amazing how I always listen to a lot of Kevin Smith stuff, and he always talks about he was, rather than being a director, he was more of an editor. He used to edit films in his head whilst filming them, and that's how I found myself to be a podcaster. I edit podcasts in my head. Yeah, the last
Because you can't control your players.
Obviously, you control.
Oh, is that the perfectly legal Blu-ray copy of the film you've just...
I didn't realise one of the things was with Amazon was like buy it now or torrent it for later.
This is absolutely the interface that Amazon used to sell me Event Horizon, which I bought with real money.
Really vague about this. Spell it out.
I think the message is getting across already. I don't think I'm going
he
beyond.
was on Amazon buying it legitimately.
Yeah.
Blatantly.
I don't even know what this film is.
Yeah, favourite scene. And I'm afraid Kurt Russell is not.
No, I was actually serious with that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was sat there watching the film thinking, I'm sure like, that guy looks familiar. I obviously worked out it was Kurt Russell.
That guy looks familiar.
No.
Oh, it's Kurt Russell.
No, as in, like, I saw at the start that it said it had Kurt Russell in it, so I worked out that he would have been Kurt Russell. And then I thought to myself, I don't think I could name you another film that I've seen with Kurt Russell in it.
Guardians of
Big
the
Trouble in
Galaxy
Little
2.
China.
Overboard.
John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. John Carpenter's Escape
Escape from New
films.
York. Escape from LA. John Carpenter's Escape from LA.
He's
Overboard.
in the last two Fast
Galaxy
and Furious films.
Yeah.
If you're into those.
Yeah, Fast and the Furious.
Oh, is he? Who was he in that?
He's the CIA guy that has no name.
Yeah, you've still not named a single film that I've seen with him in it. So,
Jesus Christ!
Right,
What else
go
has
ahead.
Kurt Russell been in?
Overboard. Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Goldie Hawn. You'll love it.
Is
Classic
that- is
80s
that-
romance.
am I
terrible.
going to have to do a Sam and legally obtain a copy of this from a certain website?
What is that?
Yeah, Amazon.
Amazon.
The thing is that all
Okay,
Kurt
yeah.
Russell's good films are that long ago that they're totally like free on like Netflix and stuff. You don't have to go looking for them.
Totally legitimately fun on
legit.
Netflix.
Can I steal one of these?
Yeah, no, help yourself, mate.
Can I have a Pepsi while you're there, please?
Sure.
Sam?
Paul,
Thank you.
favourite scene?
Can I have a carbonated fruit-based beverage, please?
Sorry,
There's no product placement here.
other sodas are available.
Can I still wait Pepsi?
Yeah.
Let's check these pizza in dates. I'll have to December or what. They're all fine.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure he did
I
not want a
don't
Pepsi.
want one of those ones, Sam.
He wanted a Pepsi
Oh.
Max Cherry.
From his from the vegetable drawer. Yes.
Did the
vegetable
diabetic just hand the other diabetic in the room a fully sugary drink?
Yes, he
I
did.
don't know. He doesn't seem to give a shit. He's
Basically, what he's trying to do is he's trying to kill
Did
you
anyone else want a
and
Pepsi?
take your insulin supply.
No.
I'm sure he's got loads of his own insulin supply. I still can't think of the scene. Am I interested in the scene or more Kurt Russell films? What you know?
What?
Are you still interested in
Oh, fuck
Kurt
me.
Russell films?
I'm clearly not going to go watch any of them, so what's the fucking point?
Oh,
Pretty sure you technically need to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I do.
Oh, damn.
So you will go watch it. Go
Yeah, but that's
Wait,
not.
you like it or not?
That's not part of it. That's just something that I have to do.
Tango and Cash. That was a good film. Have you ever seen that?
That was good.
Could have spelled Kado and Nash.
I've seen that in
Could have
years.
spelled Tango and Cash.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it in years.
I forgot about that.
Well, that film.
Tango and Cash.
It's
right?
brilliant.
Yeah, it's a good film. That.
Movie.
Not a fucking clue what just happened there. Best scene, definitely the scene where he goes to revive him with the paddles and his chest completely gives him.
Great.
And then eats his own.
And he has no hands left.
And
don't-
Panas
it-
looks genuinely horrified.
It sounds like I'm just trying to be super negative, but I can't actually think of a good scene. I know.
Oh dear.
Oh, you contrarian.
I'm sorry, but that's got to be physical horseshit.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think.
You can't think of one good film. You can't think of one good scene from the film you've just watched. One good scene.
What you should say is the scene at the end where they're just sitting together and you don't know which one's which, because then he can't argue because he didn't see it, and we're not going to argue because actually,
he saw the very end.
that's quite a good profound moment of eyeing each other up and not know what's going on.
No,
There's,
he
quite-
saw the end.
there's actually quite a distinct clue at the end of that film to which one of them is the thing.
I don't think either still.
Well, the point
However,
is, it's ambiguous. So.
But it could be neither, it could be both, it could be one, it could be the other. That's the
All you
point.
have to do is look at the breath.
Oh, yeah.
What? Oh, come on, explain now.
There's a clue at the end to which one of them is the thing.
I think I've heard this before, actually, now you mention.
So every time it cuts to Kurt Russell when he's talking, there's big plumes of cold air breath going on. When it cuts to Keith David, whenever he's talking, there's nothing. And that's what tells you who it
That
is.
he's the thing.
Because he's not breathing. Or
I didn't.
not
I didn't
hot
spot that.
inside.
And I mean, he makes it fairly obvious that he is the thing because
Yeah.
his story's utter horseshit.
Yeah, he blatantly is.
And he's like,
Super cool.
basically
about it.
says to her, he's like, yeah, you know,
Oh, when he said that it's getting really hot here, but it won't last very long.
yeah. That's him telling him that he's like, you've done all of this, but I'm still going to win.
Makes no difference.
He's like, yeah, let's see.
I prefer the idea that it could be either or neither. And no
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
you
the
ruined
way
it
to
for
leave
me.
it,
That
then.
film sucks now.
I think Kurt set fire to him. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that fade to black is actually secretly hiding the
Also,
flamethrower going nuts.
Judging by the computer game, Kurt didn't set fire to him. He didn't, did he? Because when I got to that,
I remember, there's nothing to say that there isn't, other.
things.
Yeah. Because the point is when they talk about like the blood, it's like once you separate it, it's its own distinct organism that has its own, as in like the thing. Yeah, the point is like presumably there are different, things, and if it came down to survival, they'd fight each other if it came down to it. They are separate organisms.
As these guys pointed out, the bit where he blows the guy up and sprays bits and
Well,
pieces
that's
everywhere.
what I was
dumb.
going to say there. So surely the whole point is if it's one of them is the thing, why would it attack the other guy?
Because one of the points is that the things don't know that they're the things, and they don't know that the other one is as well. Their objective is to assimilate or to protect itself. That's why that guy faked his own death, but then had to protect himself. So they're very much separate entities. It's not one thing; it's many things. He says when they're talking about the blood, they're talking about the blood once it's separated, it's its own entity.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a good point to leave it. Unless anybody's got any burning desire to mention a specific point.
No. Don't think.
The bit where they all get naked and have sex with each other, fantastic.
I think
That
you
was
So you were
really-
asleep during.
I think you were dreaming.
That was your sleeping moment, wasn't it?
I'm still giving credit to the head dropping off and running across the floor.
That was quite funny, to be fair.
It's just priceless.
the bit that I think I laughed at the most was when the crazy doctor guy is like sat outside talking to him. He's like saying, "I want to come back inside." And he just slowly closes the door. Closes the door.
That whole scene was kind of funny because there was it was just clearly there was the noose there, but no one said anything about it or anything.
Because they're kind of like, if that's what you think, maybe you should do it.
Consider it.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea.
But no, you're right. I want to come out now or better.
He's still talking as he closes the thing.
I promise I won't hurt nobody.
Oh, hilarious.
Right, thank you all for coming to not my house. And
Exactly.
Watching,
To
watching
the unknown
thing.
location.
Watching the thing on a completely legitimate Blu-ray copy that Sam had purchased in specific order for tonight.
It's a bay somewhere, apparently. Who knew?
Yeah.
What is it next time then?
Event Horizon,
I've
apparently.
got to say, Event
Oh,
Event Horizon.
Excellent.
I will have to take your word. I haven't seen that one.
So there you go. What did you think to that? The Thing podcast special. Got a little off topic at various points, but I think we still sort of managed to strip that film apart. Great movie, in my opinion, as I'm sure you're aware at this point. Get yourself over to the Cookiecast.com, see what's going on over there. Check out the social medias. We're still increasing the Instagram stuff. Check out the pictures and things. Watch us on the YouTube channel if you haven't done already. Give us a shout. Tell us what you're thinking. Do you want to see more of these specials? Are you loving the zombie cast? Are you enjoying the specials? Do you want to just hear more general chat, specialist subject sort of stuff, things like that? Give us a shout. Let us know. Tell us basically what you want to see going forward. But until next time, I'm going to say bye-bye for now, and I'll see you then. Bye.